Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for standing by and welcome to the Understanding the ROI of Paid Search webinar. During the presentation, all participants will be in a listen-only mode. Q&A will be via chat only. If at any time during the conference you need to reach an operator, please press the star followed by the 0. As a reminder, this conference is being recorded today, Tuesday, January 18th, 2011. I would now like to turn the conference over to Ms. Elaine Ellis. Please go ahead, ma'am.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us today for this webinar on the ROI of paid search. The last time we held a webinar, we asked people what their number one concern with paid search was, and overwhelmingly, we found it to be the ROI and calculating that, so we wanted to put together a webinar to help you guys address your concerns. You can ask questions as we go along, and we will be answering them at the end. And if you are on Twitter, you can use the hashtag the ROI of PPC. Today we'll be having our engineer, Michael Love-Risha, tweeting for us. I'd like to introduce your two presenters today. We have myself, I'm a social media and marketing manager, and we also are really lucky to have Mike Ramsberg, who is our agency program manager. What's great about Mike, he has 7 years of agency experience. He most recently came to us from London, from Performix and the Publicis Group. If you're excited to hear Mike speak in a London accent, you're going to be disappointed, or a British accent, but we're really grateful to have him be with us today. Wanted to give you guys a quick overview of what the webinar will be. 1 second, we're having a bit of a problem with that. 1 second.
So this is Mike talking. Just in case anyone's wondering how we got the rights to use the office as our stock photography, it's because Dunder Mifflin uses Trada for paid search. So we market all of their paper supplies and doing a great job for them.
For some reason the slide isn't coming up, so we're going to be give you guys a quick overview of the intro. Is PPC right for your company? The benefits of PPC. Calculating your CPA, achieving better ROI, and give you a little bit about Trada. So we're going to start off talking about, is PPC right for your company? That's a question that a lot of people ask. And so, sorry, we're just having a bit of technical difficulty. So is PPC right for your company? And the great way to figure this out is to ask yourself one of two questions. Is PPC right for your company? Two basic ways people end up making money from their websites. They sell something or they get a lead to eventually they can sell something too. So e-commerce, when people are a product or they're selling, having a PPC ad will ensure buyers will be able to find you. E-commerce sites are really the most frequent users of search engine marketing. And that's because if someone's doing a search on something you're selling, it's silly not to be advertising for that. And for e-commerce to be successful, here are the ingredients for success. You need a comprehensive keyword list for each product. You want to make sure that when people search that they're able to find the exact match for your product. You need to implement conversion tracking, and you need proper landing pages. A really basic mistake that people make within paid search is that they just send people to their front page, and that's a huge mistake with e-commerce. Everything should have its own proper landing pages. You want to manage inventory against ads running. You don't want to send people to something, a product that you no longer are offering. And then also you want to offer guarantees or special offers. For lead generation, you want to use paid search to help you find sales prospects who are interested in your service or products. You need a comprehensive keyword list for each product or service, just like e-commerce. You need that conversion tracking. If you're not tracking your conversions, you're really missing out. Again, proper landing pages and a strong lead generation form. What's important about that is that you don't want your lead form to have multiple thousands of questions. You just need to get people's basic contact information, and then you need to make it easy for people to contact you. You want to make sure that if someone's interested, they don't have to search around on your site for ways to reach you. Branding campaigns are for people looking for traffic without a specific call to action for visitors to take. It lacks the measurability of lead generation in e-commerce, but you're still driving traffic to your site. It can be really great for sometimes, small local shops who are looking to build awareness, want people to be able to find them online. One of the great quotes I've heard about kind of thinking about search engine marketing, a competitor is one who ranks. So you want to make sure that people can find you online easily. And for ingredients for success for a branding campaign, you want to use local targeting if applicable, bid on your company and brand names, and create landing pages where appropriate.
Yeah, branding campaigns, this is Mike jumping in real quick here. Obviously, there's great incentive to using paid search for lead generation and for e-commerce stuff. Obviously, it's easy to track and it's very measurable. But branding can also be really effective, especially if your site, you don't sell anything through your site and you're not capturing leads, but you still want to be, you want to have a presence online on the search engines and just getting your name out there. Say you're an auto dealer in Mankato, Minnesota, and you want to make sure that people who are looking to buy a new Chevy somewhere in Minnesota and they're looking online, you want your name to be associated with that search. You want it to come up. So where there aren't as measurable, there isn't measurable data that you can really use. You can see clicks and you can see impressions and click-through rates, all that kind of stuff, but you can't track conversions. It's still a very effective strategy to have in place if you're looking to gain exposure within a specific marketplace and a specific vertical. You just have to have a really responsible keyword list, taking advantage of phrase match and exact match so that you know that you're not wasting any of your marketing spend on any terms or any phrases that are going to be too broad or aren't related specifically to what it is that you are selling and promoting for your business.
Next, we'll talk to you guys about the benefits of PPC. One of my first benefits that I really love about PPC is that it is measurable. What I love about that, I do a lot of different things within Trada. We do social media marketing and we do PR and we do different things. One of the things I love about paid search is that it's measurable from start to finish. Advertisers can track what keywords are being searched, clicks, and if a buyer purchased a product from the click. So some basic terms to be familiar with is impressions, which is each time your ad is viewed. Your ad comes up when someone searches. Cost per click, which is the cost for each click generated. And then your cost per action, your CPA, or sometimes referred to as cost per acquisition. And Mike's going to detail how we calculate that in just a little bit. But I think that's one of the things that makes PPC inherently valuable.
Yeah, the other thing there too, just to add a little color to that, is that people think of paid search not only as a marketing channel but also as a market research channel. You really, it's unlike any other medium for advertising or for marketing where you can track on a daily basis, sometimes up to the minute basically on what kind of results your messaging is getting or what kind of response consumers have to a particular promotion that you're offering, and you get that data real fast, and you can use A/B testing and different things to see what's more important to your customer, free shipping or a 20% off offer. And you can use that information that you test within your paid search campaign and use it to inform other methods of advertising and marketing that you're doing. So it really is valuable. This measurability and this instant data and the ability to test and change things on a daily basis is really, really unique and useful.
The other great thing about this is that you need to think about is a really tangible benefit of paid search is that it's going to send really great targeted traffic to your site, and a lot of people don't recognize that value. Even if someone doesn't purchase, it's a lot more interactive form of advertising because someone's already interacting with your brand. And if you have cookies in place, you can check and see if someone purchases within 30 days, but these people may come back and purchase. And then what a lot of people don't understand when they're evaluating doing SEO and PPC is that sites that rank high in the search engine results for both paid and organic tend to receive a lot more clicks. And what's interesting is the natural result tends to receive more clicks as well. So it's kind of double affirmation to the search that your site is on target for what they're looking for. The other thing that I think is fantastic about paid search is the brand recognition. You get increased impressions with paid search results because if they see your ad, even if they don't click, they have awareness of your company. But one thing we want to talk about is that it's important to realize those impressions don't come without a cost if they're not clicking. Google has something called a quality score, which we'll touch upon a little bit more, but having high impressions and a low click-through rate hurts your quality score, which can be harmful to your paid search campaign. The other thing that I really love about paid search, it's 24/7 advertising. It runs no matter when someone is searching, and it's something that you can turn on and off or turn up. I saw a question from one of the audience members why you would do paid search over something like PR if you were a B2B company, and Trada is a B2B company, and what I love about paid search is that we get and see consistent leads from it. With PR, we might see a spike here or there, but it's not something that we can really control. But with paid search, we really know the advantages of having consistent lead flow. Finally, two things that you should really keep in mind that has advantages that you may not find with other advertising firms is day parting and geolocation. With day parting, you can choose your ads to run only at certain times during the day. If you know people tend to search for your product during business hours, you can day part so those ads run only then. And you can really target it to certain locations and areas, which is something that you may not be able to do with other forms, say like TV advertising. Okay, well, I'm going to hand it over to Mike, and he's going to talk a little bit about calculating your CPA.
Hi, everybody. So, yeah, calculating your CPA, it's a big topic, and it's something that there's a lot of different schools of thought on. The important thing to know is that, your cost per acquisition is the defining metric for most people who are going to be tracking conversions within their paid search campaign, and it's really important to define an appropriate and responsible cost per acquisition target or cost per action target so that you can effectively evaluate the performance of your campaign. So we have the thing about the CPA is it helps you determine how much you can afford to spend. So the best way to figure out your CPA is to, this is, just noticing this slide now, it's come up slow on my screen. So what we're actually looking at is show me the money, let's figure out your cost per action. This is where an advertiser pays for each specified action, a purchase, a form submission, and so on, links the advertisement. So basically, yeah, the CPA is how much you're willing to pay for the action on your site, whether that's a purchase of a product or the completion of a lead form. So in order to do in order to track a CPA, you need to have conversion tracking implemented on your site. So how that works is that a conversion tracking code is placed onto your site, and once the code is applied, the conversion tracking places a cookie on your user's computer, and then if the user reaches one of your conversion pages, the cookie connects to your web page, and conversion tracking records a successful conversion for you. Basically what that means is there's a pixel dropped on the thank you page of your site, and after someone buys something or fills out a lead form and they get to that confirmation page, the conversion tracking code will, it fires a success metric back to us, and it records, or back to you, and says like, this conversion was took place on this day at this time, and it's the fundamental piece of tracking and calculating CPAs. So the formula that we use here when we're working with advertisers who are looking to define their CPA is we determine a conversion rate. So if you have a campaign that's currently running, you look at it and you see what your current conversion rate is. You calculate your gross profit, then you calculate your target CPA. Then the next piece of this is you look at your net profit after you've evaluated what your CPA is, and you determine your maximum cost per click. So based on what you're willing to pay for your cost per action, you can determine how much you're willing to pay on a click basis, and it helps you create all of the pricing you need for your entire search campaign. So to figure out your conversion rate, it's a pretty simple formula. You just divide the total number of conversions from your site by the site or visits to your site. So in this example, if a site receives 4,000 site visits in a month and generated 80 conversions, the conversion rate would be 2%. Pretty straightforward, but it's useful in determining your overall CPA. So the next step is you want to calculate your gross profit. So basically you just take your sales price minus the cost of product, and that equals the gross profit of your product. So in this case, if your sales price is $125 and your cost to build the product is $65, then your gross profit is $60. So you've got $60 gross profit. Moving into calculating your CPA, you look at the sales price and you multiply that by the cost or the percentage of your sales and marketing cost, and that's how you get your target CPA. And how you're determining your sales and marketing costs is basically it's individual to each business. How much are you willing to pay to overall to market products, and what that comes out to for us in this particular example is 15%. So if the sales price of the product is $125 and the marketing margin percentage is 15%, using this formula, your overall target CPA is going to be $18.75. So again, that's the sales price multiplied by the percentage of the marketing cost. And so for your $125 product, you're willing to pay $18.75 online to drive that conversion. So in order to calculate your net profit from that, then you take your gross profit, which we determined to be $60, and you subtract your target CPA of $18.75, and you realize now that your net profit for that product is $41.25. Now, in order to determine your maximum cost per click, and this is how, in order to get conversions, you have to have clicks. So how do you appropriately price your clicks to get to the conversion or the conversion cost that you want? So the formula you see on the screen is 100 divided by 100 times the conversion rate equals the required clicks to generate a conversion. So the conversion rate we saw before was 2%. You'll need 50 clicks to get a conversion in this scenario. So to calculate the maximum average cost per click your campaign can have, take your target CPA and divide it by your required clicks. So in this case, I think it works out to 37 cents when you do the actual math. And what that means, it doesn't mean that all your keywords need to be set at 37 cents and nothing can go higher than that. That just means that the the max average CPC has to be 37 cents. So some terms are more costly than others. I mean, anyone who knows the search space understands that not all your keywords are going to cost the same amount. Certain terms are more competitive than others. So, for this particular example, you might have some terms that you're paying $4.85 for, and other terms that you're paying 2 cents for. But at the end of the day, you want to make sure that your maximum average cost per click is going to be 37 cents, and that allows you to work towards that target CPA goal of $18.75 or whatever it was. So that's a way that you can determine your CPA using some pretty straightforward calculations that I think are pretty effective in helping gauge what your CPA should be. And then as Elaine mentioned with the measurability and data aspect of search, the great thing about it is this can help you get started and help you manage some expectations in terms of what you should look for in your campaign. It doesn't have to be a hard and fast rule. It's not a perfect science. This isn't the only calculation out there. There are others that other people will use and different strategies that people have to determine their CPA, but this is a good fundamental way to get started. And then you can use your performance day to day, month to month, to reevaluate what that cost per action is. And you might realize that, $18.75 is a little too low. It's not we're not meeting that target. It might be worthwhile to have a higher CPA and adjust your click costs up accordingly. Likewise, if you realize that you're coming in, you're delivering your cost per action at $12, then your target can be moved down, and you can evaluate things differently that way. But again, that's where the measurability and instant data that search provides comes in really, really handy. So now I guess the next topic within this webinar is budget and the different ways that budgets work. And a lot of people want to get started with paid search advertising, but they're not sure what the appropriate amount of money is to spend in the space, and they don't really know how to get started. So the great thing about search is that it allows you to have a custom budget. So you can create a budget that's tailored just for your business. Google, Yahoo, Bing, Search Alliance, they don't say that in order to advertise on these engines, you need to pay $50 up front each month just to gain entry to the system or whatever. There's nothing like that. You can spend whatever it is that you have allotted to spend from your company, and you can determine whether or not it's an effective channel for you. What we're seeing, with Entrata, just speaking from our own personal experience, is that, and it's a trend that I've seen in my former life with my other jobs, but a lot of people are moving, especially small and medium-sized businesses, are moving their budgets away from more traditional forms of advertising like television commercials or newspaper ads, whatever it is, into this digital space because they want to capture traffic in a way that is a little more on demand than former channels that they were using. So rather than spending $800 to advertise in the Longmont Daily Ledger or whatever the newspaper is once a week or once a month, they're going to take that $800 and put it towards search campaigns, because whereas advertising in a newspaper, chances are someone who's filling out a crossword puzzle or wherever it is might come across it and see it and be interested and cut out the ad and refer to it later, save it somewhere, pin it up on the refrigerator, whatever. But more likely it's going to get thrown in the recycling bin, or I don't mean to belittle other forms of marketing, but that's just the feedback we've gotten. Whereas if you're using paid search, that $800 is only going to get spent on terms that people are actually already looking for, and you can target customers based on their impulses and their needs. So, the discussion about how much budget to put in is a good place to start. Is how much are you spending in other channels, and how effective has it been for you to date? But then again, looking at this slide, custom budgeting, the engines, the networks, they allow you to spend as much as you need to or feel like you should spend each month, and there's no minimum barrier to entry for this model. So there's two fundamental types of budgets. There's fixed budgets and self-funding budgets. So a fixed budget establishes a fixed amount for you to spend on PPC each month. And this essentially is just if you're working in a company and you're given your marketing budget allotment for the month each month, and you take a third of that and put it towards search, you've got a fixed amount that you can spend each month, and that's that. Other budgets are self-funding, and we see this a lot with some small and medium-sized e-commerce businesses who work with us on a, we provide a performance-only basis, and what we see with them is that they start with a fixed budget, and then they start earning enough money based on that fixed budget that now they've got a self-funding budget where they're using only the profit that they're making from, or a portion of the profit that they're making from the sales from their site to fund their, their paid search activity from there on in, and they adjust up and down on a monthly basis according to how successful the campaign was the previous month.
Well, now I'll be speaking about achieving better ROI. What we hear from a lot of people is that they're doing paid search, but they're just not seeing the ROI. And we wanted to talk about some of the ways that you can fix that and see a better ROI. The first thing, I wanted to talk about some of the breaks you can put on your PPC campaign, what to do when your campaign isn't working. And first thing is keep an eye on the costs. That's what a lot of people don't realize, that with all of your different bid prices, or when you're using geolocation and day parting and all the different costs that go into paid search, you really want to keep an eye on how much you're spending. And Google makes it so easy, and so do all the other ad networks, to make it easy to put brakes on your spending and really break down on it. And then number two is not all clicks are equal. Just because you're receiving clicks, if they're not converting, then you shouldn't be spending money on them. And then know when to stop spending. Just because you've seen a great ROI, it doesn't mean you can always achieve the high volume that you've seen in the past, or high quality leads. So you have to know sometimes, that you have reached a certain budget threshold. And then the other thing is A/B test everything. You should be able to A/B test your landing pages, your ads, your copy, your offers, and that can really help you find out what's working and put together a really great and useful paid search campaign. The other thing we touched upon earlier was a Google quality score. Google goes through and measures your paid search campaign on all these different characteristics. And I won't go through all of them, but it relates to the relevance of your keyword, to the ad, to the landing page. It's just trying to really make sure that you have a really good paid search campaign. And it really matters because the higher your Google quality score, the lower your cost and the better your ad position. So having a good Google quality score can really help you put together an affordable PPC campaign if you're doing good quality targeted work. The other thing you should think about is investigating your long tail keywords. For some industries, it's very competitive to bid on the head of tail keywords, which are one or two keywords. Traffic from long tail keywords usually convert at a higher rate and have a lower cost per click, since the demand for the keyword is lower. So really blowing out your keyword list and making a long list of that. And then I know Mike really believes that having a good bid process and system within your keywords can help you really manage the ROI of your PPC.
Right. So again, going back to sort of what I touched on with regards to the maximum average cost per click, there are different, you don't want to just do blanket buys all across every single keyword and all the different ad group buckets that you have and have everything be $2. That's, people do that as a strategy because they want their average CPC to be $2, so they just set it at $2 for everything, but that's really not the most effective way to manage your spend. Now, something that our optimizers do and something that, most agencies will do for you is that manage bids and budgets according to performance of particular keywords. So if you know that a long tail keyword ad group maybe only gets 15 clicks a month or something like that, then maybe you set really low cost per click prices for those particular terms, and you at the ad group level set a budget of $10 a month on that, whereas with your more popular terms, maybe they're branded terms that might be a little bit more expensive, you set at the ad group level $80 a month on those particular terms with the maximum cost per click of $3. And basically you can just divide your budget within your budget, if that makes sense, according to the frequency and volume and performance of the keywords on an individual level, or at the ad group level rather. So there's lots of ways to dynamically do that with tools and different bidding technologies, and there's also a human element that Trada provides. But the importance is that you don't want to do blanket bids across all your ad groups and keywords, because it's really not a very effective way to spend money. And a lot of people who are managing search campaigns for the first time, either they don't have the experience and expertise needed to manage the groups and everything on an individual level, but I'm sure that Trada will be putting up more blogs and probably doing webinars on how to appropriately price things. How do you manage bid pricing at the keyword level? So keep an eye out for that. It's a really important piece of the ROI process.
And finally, for our last slide on this section, it really amounts to good PPC can really help you develop a good ROI. Better your PPC, better your ROI. So one thing, keep in mind, analyze your data. We've kind of talked about all the different tools that you have. So measuring your CPA, measuring your cost per click, analyzing that, and figuring out where there's room for improvement. And then one thing that we see a lot is people tend to use broad match, which means you're doing very, very untargeted, can be untargeted keywords. You can spend a lot of money, so you need to keep an eye on that. One way to really do that is use exact match. And the other area you can use improvement for is using negative keywords, which if you're seeing a lot of keywords that aren't converting or that aren't a fit, you can put them in as a negative term and your ads will no longer show up. So those are some ideas to kind of enhance your ROI with your PPC campaign. And now Mike's going to tell you guys just a couple words about Trada.
Right, so Trada, just for anyone who's new or isn't familiar with what Trada is, we are the world's first and only paid search marketplace where agencies and direct advertisers can leverage the expertise of hundreds of skilled PPC experts who work collaboratively and competitively to build and optimize sophisticated PPC campaigns. Everyone works on a paid performance system, earning money by generating low-cost clicks and conversions for advertisers. So that's sort of a byline, mission statement kind of thing. What that means is that we have a really sophisticated technology platform that stitches together some of the most talented PPC experts in the industry. They work with Trada on a 1099 basis, and they earn money according to their ability to meet or beat performance targets that you as an advertiser set for them. So if you come to us and say you're willing to spend $1 a click or $40 a CPA, and our optimizers can deliver that click for 20 cents or that cost per action for $20, the optimizer keeps the difference in between, and Trada takes a percentage of that. We don't charge any fees. We don't have retainer fees, management fees. We don't take a percentage of your spend overall in addition to optimizer earnings. We work on a pure performance basis, and it's a crowdsourcing approach, and it's very unique and innovative, and part of the reason that we were selected by Google Ventures to get venture funding from them, which has been great, and they've been a fantastic support for us as we build and develop our business into other channels aside from just paid search. If you're interested in joining Trada as an expert, maybe you don't want to advertise through us but want to become an optimizer, you can earn money working in our marketplace. It's risk-free. You put in your time and you get paid for your efforts based on your performance. It's great if you are a freelancer and you don't want to spend any time going out and finding or networking your own clients. You just log into Trada's system and Depending on your eligibility or rank as an optimizer, you can start joining campaigns and working your way up through the system. You can choose the types of campaigns you want to work on. So we have a great breadth and depth of different types of industry verticals that we support. And, if you're someone who does really well with auto, then we've got lots of auto campaigns you can work on. If you like fashion and retail, we've got those campaigns. B2B, there's lots of opportunity for people from all different walks of life within the Trada marketplace. You do have to take an entrance exam. You have to sort of pass through a relatively rigorous screening process to make sure that you're going to do good work, and we know that we're delivering a good product to our customers. So you join the community of PPC experts as well, and you get, you can message other optimizers, and you have access to other professionals, and you can bounce ideas off of each other, and it's really a really neat system to be a part of. Overall, though, the great thing about Trada, and just my 2 cents coming from an agency background, is that all of the difficult stuff that people don't like to do internally, which is researching keyword lists and writing ad copy and setting bid prices and doing all that stuff, Trada does that heavy back-end lifting for you while you drive the overall strategy of the campaign. You come in as an advertiser, you set your goals within the system, you pull levers and adjust them as needed and kind of encourage optimizers to do the work you want them to do, but you yourself don't have to take on the relatively laborious administrative task of curating a keyword list of 50,000 keywords and putting the appropriate bid price next to each one of them and developing ads for each of them. All that gets done for you, at no added overhead cost for your business. So it's a great way to scale search and grow your business. So that's just my 2 cents on what Trada is and how it works. And I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to add, Elaine?
No. Someone asked if we do training, and we don't do training and in-depth training yet for our paid search experts, but that's something we'll probably be doing in Q2, so keep an eye out. The other thing I wanted to say is that people can find us, if they wanted to, on our Trada.com blog. We have a lot of great paid search articles, and we recently did a blog post series on keywords. You can find us on Twitter at Trada, and you can find us at Trada.com. And then right now we'll be taking questions from the audience, and we've gotten some great ones as we've gone along. One first question I'd love to start off with is any tips and tricks on finding long-tail keywords, which is one of the areas we addressed for lowering your ROI and PPC.
Yeah, so that's a great question, and there's lots of keyword research tools that you can use, and if you want to look at SpyFu or AdGuru, some of them are a little more expensive than others, but you can pay to use tools and do keyword research there. And for your specific domain, you would just enter the landing page or your home page into the browser there, and it basically spits back different terms, not only ones that are on your page, but also ones that are in the industry vertical that you're looking for, and you can sort that list however you want. A lot of times they come back with pretty decent long-tail keyword suggestions, but again, that's a paid service, which is some people don't want to pay for a tool like that. Google AdWords has a nice functionality. If you go into use the keyword tool there, it's under the opportunity section of your login, and you can do keyword research there. You can type in sample keywords that you would use for your site. So say you sell scarves, you might put in knit scarf, wool scarf, Burberry scarf, whatever it is, and then it'll generate a list that tells you, it gives you pretty decent information on how competitive that term is, so what the global monthly searches are, what you can expect to get in terms of traffic. You can get the estimated average cost per click for particular terms, and you can get anywhere from 50 to 300, or as many keywords as you see fit, and you can sort that list again by by any metric that you want that's available there in the system. So there's a couple of good places to do that. Again, there's paid tools like SpyFu and AdGuru. There's free tools in AdWords. Trada, for people who use our system that might be on this call, if you're in the review keyword section of the interface and you click on the little magnifying glass for broad match terms, it tells you the long tail terms that were used to get to that broad match phrase. So that's an interesting thing that we do, where we show you which broad match, what the actual search phrase was that connected to your broad match term, and a lot of our clients use that to then notify the optimizers, and then we go out and create expanded keyword lists based on that data that we see.
Another question we talked about earlier, the Google Quality Score, and someone wanted to know where you can find your Google Quality Score. Google
Quality Score, it doesn't have an exact definition, so you can't go into Google and type in what's Google Quality Score. It's their secret sauce, and it's dependent on a lot of different factors, but some of the things that we know are heavily weighted in that equation are: what is the relevance of your ad to the search phrase? How good is your site? So, they have algorithm, they have spiders that crawl your site and basically determine whether it's a user-friendly site, if it's easy to find the products that people are looking for, if it uses Flash, or different things that can either help or hurt your overall quality score based on the actual just makeup of your site. Quality score also, there's the relevance of the keyword to the searcher, keyword, ad copy, landing page, I think are the three most important things when you're talking about your Google Quality Score. So all those things need to be relevant to the search query. The landing page needs to be user-friendly. The ad copy needs to be as specific as possible to the actual term that's being searched. So, you don't want to just have write one ad for your entire search campaign and have it run across all your ad groups, because A, it's not going to be relevant for all of your ads. I mean, you can use keyword insertion, but it's still not going to be that relevant if you're running it across every single ad group in your entire campaign. And, the keywords need to be put into the appropriate keyword buckets. So the ad groups need to be organized in an intelligent way. And then the pricing too. If you have a low quality score, you can see your quality score within Google, so if you have a good or poor quality score. And the unfortunate thing about quality scores, Google will basically charge you more for a cost per click if you have a low quality score. So those are the things that I would look at in terms of improving your quality score. If you currently have one that's poor, look at your keyword list, look at the ad copy that you're running, and then take a really good look at the actual landing page that you're driving the users to.
Another great question we received was related to Trada, and they wanted to know, what is the minimum amount of monthly investment Trada will take?
That's a great question. Trada's minimum monthly spend requirement for advertisers is $3,000 a month. So that's where we drew the line in the sand, because anything less than that, and our optimizers, they aren't incentivized to really work on the campaigns if they're less than $3,000 a month, because they just don't have enough opportunity to make money, and they don't have, on a more fundamental day-to-day level, it's hard for anything less than $3,000 a month, your daily spend limit, if you cap it at, you divide $3,000 by 30 days or whatever, you limit the amount that you can spend daily, and then if you've got 5 or 10 optimizers working on a campaign, within those constraints, they can only, maybe see 4 or 5 clicks worth of data for each single day per optimizer, and it's really hard to optimize towards any targets when you're only looking at 5 clicks a day. So minimum monthly spend is $3,000, and like I said, the reason we did that is so that the user experience is positive both for the optimizers and the advertisers.
Another great question. How important is it to match PPC keywords with organic search keywords you are using?
That is a good question, and a lot of people think about a unified search solution where the PPC is there to amplify and augment work that's being done in the SEO piece of the business, and I think it's a great place to start. If you have I think both of them inform each other. Like I said, when you're working in Trada and you can see You know, if an optimizer is buying a broad match term, and then you click on the little magnifying glass, you can see what the actual search phrase was that connected with that broad match term. You can take that information, and our advertisers do it all the time. They take that information, they make note of it, they jot it down, and they work with their SEO provider and say, look, these are terms that are driving clicks on our pay-per-click channel, and we'd like you to incorporate that somehow into the organic strategy that you're using for our SEO portion of our search practice. So, and likewise, when campaigns start that have been running SEO, and now an advertiser wants to start using PPC in addition to SEO, the SEO core keyword list is an amazing place to start. It has all kinds of provides all kinds of insight to for when creating a paid search campaign, and what terms are going to be useful for your campaign, what terms are going to be highly searched and are going to produce a nice volume of traffic that we can optimize from. And for some terms you might not want to, there's different schools of thought, and my personal feeling is if you're appearing first in organic listings for certain terms, and maybe you don't want to spend money on those in pay-per-click and use that money instead to buy terms that aren't currently being focused on within SEO. But for people who are interested in branding, we talked about branding a little bit, and you just want to get coverage and you want to get your name out there, then yeah, it's absolutely important to buy both your brand name and have that appear first in the paid listings, and also have it appear first in the organic listings. It really just comes down to what your goals are with your campaign, and how you want to differentiate your budget. If you've got a smaller budget, maybe you don't want to spend money on your brand terms if they're already covered in SEO.
We had a question: how specific can the geo-targeting be, and how is that accomplished by Google?
So geo-targeting can be really, really specific. We have advertisers in our system that put in the address of their business and say that they want to advertise in a 5-mile radius around that business. So, my dad has a company, he works in Pennsylvania, and if he was going to advertise, geo-target his company on there, he could put in 450 Parkway, Brew Mall, 5 miles around that, and Google would only serve ads to users with IP addresses listed within that 5-mile radius. You can do it by your company address. You can do it by a metro area. You can create a custom shape, so you can literally just go into Google AdWords and choose a custom shape and draw boundaries around the area that you want it to go into. You can advertise in specific states. You can advertise in specific zip codes. There's multiple ways to help you target and refine your search on a geo-specific level. And again, it's all connected and served to users who fit within those parameters that you set based on their IP address.
We've had 2 great Trada-related questions. Does Trada help figure out what the budget should be for the customer, as well as who is eligible to become an expert at Trada, and do they need AdWords certification?
Okay, so the first question, I think, let me just repeat that, is how do you just try to work with an advertiser to help determine pricing? Yes, so Trada loves to be involved in that. A lot of times we have advertisers come to us with campaigns that have been running previously, and they say, we were getting a $35 CPA, and our average cost per click was $2.85, and can we just set those, can we just use that history and create a campaign within Trada using the same goals? And sometimes we'll take a look at that and say, we can improve your pricing, we think maybe you should increase your CPA targets, but we have an account management team that works with advertisers. We have proprietary CPA calculator and cost per click calculator, which help advertisers use data both from the industry at large, what is actual data coming in from Google AdWords and from Bing and Yahoo, Search Alliance, and what is marketplace data telling us from Trada to help optimize or help advertisers effectively price their campaigns. Because when you're working with Trada, not only do you want to take into account the fact that you have your own business CPA goals that you would like to hit, but you've also got the added element of how do you incentivize optimizers to adopt your campaign, to work on it, to do the good work that they can. And the truth of the matter is, if you come to Trada and you've got a campaign that you were running before in-house that had a $30 CPA, and you come to Trada and say, look, we want you guys to do it at $20 a CPA, we're going to come back and say probably that's not going to work because, A, we want to be able to meet the target that you were working at before, but we also want to incentivize optimizers to join the campaign, and they won't do it unless they feel like they can optimize against the target where they can earn some money. So there's an important discussion around how much is a CPA change and how do we appropriately set it within our marketplace to encourage optimizer adoption and to encourage them to do the work. And the conversation really comes down to the fact that we're taking on a lot of the heavy lifting of the campaign, and advertisers are actually happy in some cases to raise their CPA because they're saving themselves, having to hire someone internally to manage the campaign. And if you look at adding a salary in-house plus overhead and benefits as opposed to adding $2 to your overall CPA, that $2 difference is really, really negligible in relation to the other potential added costs for that. But other times we've seen advertisers come to us and they have really high CPAs for campaigns they've been running in-house, and we've been able to lower them by almost 100%. So I guess a long way of saying yes, we have people that will help you determine your CPA, and there's a lot of different factors that go into doing that. The second question was about
if you need to be Google AdWords certified to become a Trada expert.
To my knowledge, most of them are GAP certified, but I think that throughout the course of this year, we're going to be opening up the optimizer community to include people that aren't GAP certified, but will have to get certified through Trada and work through a training and development program within Trada's marketplace itself, so that we can expand our optimizer offering to more people who maybe don't have the wherewithal to get GAP certified, because if I'm not mistaken, I think you have to manage a campaign of $1,000 a month for a certain period of time, and some people just don't have that option. So, you can contact Elaine or I, and if you're interested in becoming an optimizer, and we can put you in touch with their optimizer management team, and I'm sure that if you're a motivated and interested party, that there's definitely ways that we can get you on board into our system in a way that protects our current advertisers and sets you up for success.
You guys, thank you so much for joining us. Due to time constraints, I'm going to take one more question, and then we will be wrapping this up. But the question that I was going to take was, if a client receives most of their conversions from brand name terms, should they advertise on non-brand keywords as well?
I would say yes. I think that branded versus non-branded strategies is something that a lot of people have their own opinions on, but the ability to capture conversions for brand terms is obvious, and it's it's something that definitely you want to capture, and you want to reap the benefits of that strong brand name. However, there is great potential and great opportunity to drive additional conversions and to augment the total number of conversions through a long tail keyword strategy. And someone who types in something not thinking of the brand might type in a long tail search phrase that, if you're buying that keyword and your brand comes up, people will then recognize the brand and make that purchase based on brand recognition. So I think if you have a strong brand and you're driving a lot of conversions based on your brand name, you definitely want to focus on advertising for non-branded terms, because I think if you've got a brand that is that powerful and that recognizable and that strong, you want to leverage that and use that in a long tail strategy, because as soon as someone sees that your brand pop up, they're probably going to click through and know, oh, I didn't realize that so and so offered this type of product, or I didn't realize that I could buy this online through them. And they may not have thought to use your brand name as a search term, but once they see it, they would buy it. So I think definitely yes, you want to amplify your branded campaign with a sophisticated non-branded campaign.
You guys, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you guys taking this afternoon and morning for you. If you have any specific questions, I have my email above if you weren't able to get your questions answered. We thank you again for joining us.
Ladies and gentlemen, that does conclude today's webinar. We thank you for your participation and ask that you please disconnect your lines.